Do you know what BMI is? BMI stands for Body, Mind, and Intellect.
Shivanandam P1 will perform Santana Dharma and Vedanta through a BMI chart.
Hari Om. My name is Shriya Palangari. I am a student of Shivanandam afternoon class. We will start our presentation offering prayers to Sharada Devi, followed by what is Sanatana Dharma, characteristics of Sanatana Dharma, various philosophical schools of Sanatana Dharma, and explanation of Vedanta through body, mind, intellect, also known as the BMI chart.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Sharadindu Vikasi Mandahasam Spuradindi Varalochana Piramam Aravinda Samana Sundarasyam Aravindasana Sundari Mupase.
Hari Om. My name is Ishan. Today my classmates and I are going to talk about what we learned during this year. I am going to talk about Sanatana Dharma. Hinduism was called Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana means eternal and Dharma means natural law. Sanatana Dharma is also called Vaidika Dharma as it follows teachings outlined in Vedas. Modern Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism all trace their origins to Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma guides us along the path of welfare for achieving the goals of human life. They are broadly classified into material and spiritual goals. The material goals are Dharma, which is seeking security, and Kama, which is seeking pleasure. Spiritual goals lead us to liberation from birth-rebirth cycle called moksha. The following are the paths for attaining moksha. Karma Yoga. This is the path of action doing our duties. Bhakti Yoga. This is the path of devotion, signifying an attitude of devotion to a favorite god. Jnana Yoga. This is the path of knowledge, the path of realization that leads to an experience of absolute truth. Raja Yoga. This is the path of meditation where the premise is that our mind creates our world. Hari Om. Over to Adi Shri.
Hari Om. My name is Adi Shri. I'm going to talk about the characteristics of Vaidika Dharma. The fundamental tenet of Vaidika Dharma is God is omnipresent. However, all of us perceive this in different ways. The least qualified human, also known as Manda Adhikari, blindly follows and worships whatever form God has presented to him. The moderately qualified Madhyama Adhikari is slightly more qualified than Manda Adhikari. The highly qualified Uttama Adhikari sees the Lord's vision everywhere and experiences it. They have the highest level of spiritual maturity. During the course of these learnings, we come across many apparent contradictions because the sources are varied. Many of us follow paths based on culture and family traditions. Following a guru is one way to resolve these contradictions. Even though there are differences in the teachings based on sources of information, the core principles remain the same, which are reincarnation, cause and effect, and the generator-operator-destroyer cycle. The law of karma is the law of cause and effect. If you do good, you receive good. If you do bad, you receive bad. Bad karma keeps the soul via reincarnation from one body to another. Vaidika Dharma gives a clear way of how life is to be followed to resolve bad karma. Hari Om. Over to Sai Shriya.
Hari Om. My name is Sai Shriya. I'm going to talk about two types of dharma. Samanya Dharma, or universal law, and Vishesha Dharma, the specific law. Contentment, forgiveness, self-restraint, non-stealing, purity, control of senses, discrimination between right and wrong, between real and unreal, spiritual knowledge, truthfulness, and absence of anger come under the general or universal dharma. Vishesha Dharma is defined as the set of duties for an individual. It varies from person to person. A student has to go to school. An employee has to be sincere to his employer. A parent's duty is to take care of his or her child. These are Vishesha Dharmas. The mother has the highest importance in Vedas. 4 human beings are regarded as God: mother, father, teacher, and guest. Mother gives birth to her child, risking her life. She is noble and unselfish person. Father responsible for a child's conduct and character. Acharya gives knowledge by which one can understand and realize God. Guest is treated as an uninvited and unannounced visit of godliness in our life. Hari Om, over to Divya.
Hari Om. My name is Divya. I'm going to talk about various philosophical schools of Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma is traditionally divided into 6 Astika schools of thought which accept the Vedas as authoritative texts. Those Astika schools are Sankhya school. Sankhya means reasoning by numeric enumeration, providing a framework for evolution and manifestation of life. It regards the universe as consisting of 2 realities, Purusha, the consciousness, and Prakriti as matter. This school does not have the concept or of existence of God. Yoga school. This is a theistic philosophy. It believes in the existence of God. It embraces practical methods for direct experience. Yoga involves systematic movement to your inner states and finally go beyond all of them to the center of consciousness. Vaisheshika school. Vaisheshika school of Hinduism, like Buddhism, accepted only 2 reliable means to knowledge: perception and inference. Nyaya school. Nyaya school accepts 4 out of 6 pramanas as reliable means of gaining knowledge. Pratyaksha, which is perception, Anumana, meaning inference, Upamana, which is comparison and analogy, and Shabda, which is sound. Mimamsa school. This school believes in freedom through action. The Mimamsa system has a detailed philosophy related to ritual, worship, and ethical conduct, which developed into the philosophy of karma. Vedanta school. This is a contemplative self-inquiry school of Sanatana Dharma. Vedanta philosophy and practice provides contemplative methods of self-inquiry leading to the realization of one's true nature. Hari Om, over to Saikaran.
Hari Om. My name is Saikaran. I am going to continue talking about the philosophical schools of Sanatana Dharma. The 6 schools are divided into 3 groups: the Nyaya and the Vaisheshika, the Sankhya and the Yoga, and the Mimamsa and the Vedanta. The Vaisheshika is a supplement of the Nyaya. The Yoga is a supplement of the Sankhya. The Vedanta is an amplification and fulfillment of the Sankhya. Study of Vyakarna, Mimamsa, Nyaya, and Sankhya is necessary to understand the Vedanta. The Nyaya sharpens the intellect and enables the aspirants to grab the Vedanta. The Nyaya is considered as a prerequisite for all philosophical inquiry. The Purva Mimamsa, also known as Mimamsa, deals with the Karma Kanda of the Vedas, and the Uttara Mimamsa, also known as Vedanta, deals with the Jnana Kanda. By practice of Vedanta, one reaches the highest rung of the ladder of spirituality or the pinnacle of divine glory, oneness with the Supreme Being by the destruction of ignorance. Hari Om, over to Vaishnavi.
Hari Om. My name is Vaishnavi. I'm going to talk about the BMI chart. The symbol Om is viewed through the veil of vasanas, expressed through the instruments of B, M, and I, as the individual entity in the perceiver, feeler, and thinker in the world of objects, emotions, and thoughts. With the aim of discovering the art of personality development, the sages of the Upanishads examined life and found that an experience is not possible without 3 factors of the experiencer, the object of experience, and the relationship between the 2. 1. The experiencer is a sense of individuality in each of us, I, the ego. 2. The object of experience are emotions and thoughts. 3. The relationship between the 2, with BMI, are the 3 through which life is expressed. The individual is a subject who gains experiences of the world through the instruments of experiencing. When the subject identifies with the intellect, he becomes a thinker. When identified with the mind, he becomes the feeler. And when identified with the body, he becomes a perceiver. Each individual acts out the various roles of a perceiver, feeler, and thinker as he seeks his happiness in the world of objects, emotions, and thoughts. The mind is a seat of impulses and feelings, and it is common to all living creatures. But humans alone have the capacity to discriminate and analyze feelings. This faculty of discrimination, this power of judgment, this capacity to discern what is to be done and what is to be avoided is a function of the intellect. In every experience in life, man contacts the world through the media of the four constituent entities in him. They are his body, mind, and intellect, and a consciousness symbolized by the symbol Om, which is the life principle in him. Hari Om. Over to Meenakshi.
Hari Om. My name is Meenakshi. The quality and textures of the mind and intellect, otherwise known as equipment, differ from one individual to another. This depends on one's inherent and independent tendencies or inclinations, which are called vasanas. Vasanas create desires in the intellect. Desires produce thoughts in the mind, and thoughts manifest in the form of actions at the level of the physical body. Each one of us thus becomes a helpless statement of our past through this impulse of vasanas. Vasanas are generated by our egocentric contacts with the world of objects, emotions, and thoughts. The stronger the vasanas, the more we are subject to unconscious urges. The more we are controlled by urges, the greater are the devastating agitations of the mind. We find no lasting happiness, for the vasanas only kindle more desires. The cosmic totality, Om, the life principle, is called Brahman. This divine self, Om, is also known as Atman. We are ignorant of this divine self, therefore we identify with our limitations. An individual is the self contaminated by this ignorance. Hari Om, over to Rishi.
Hari Om. My name is Rishi. To achieve spiritual realization, the mind has to be purified of its desires and agitations. The fewer the agitations in the mind, the fewer the vasanas. The fewer the vasanas, the quieter the mind. As the mind becomes quiet, it remains in a state of meditation. Vasanas can be purified with the study of philosophy and the practice of religion, and thereby human personality can be elevated to a higher spiritual level. Reducing vasanas is the path to self-realization. One way to do this is to purify the mind through various yogas like karma yoga, bhakti yoga, and raja yoga. This can be achieved by an action performed with as an offering to the Lord called as Ishwar Arpita Buddhi. Number 2, humble acceptance of all that is offered as a gift from God called as Prasada Buddhi. 3, liberation from desire, fear, and anger. And 4, selfless service and devotion. Hari Om, over to Shubhankar.
Hari Om. My name is Shubhankar. The self-realization is achieved through Jnana Yoga by 1, learning teachings from Guru called Shravana, 2, learning until there is no doubt left in the mind called Manana, and 3, understanding these and practicing these called Nididhyasana. Through all of these, one can attain self-realization called moksha. Hari Om. Over to Sathwik.
With this, we can conclude our presentation on Sanatana Dharma, its philosophical schools, and the BMI chart. This presentation was based on our learnings from the Shivanandam class and knowledge from our teachers. This does not cover all the details of what we learned, and yet we have done our best to present most of them. Hari Om. Hara Hara Namah Parvati Pataye Hara Hara Mahadeva Shri Sadgurunatha Maharaj Ki